The studio is a world away from the Dolphin Coast where Christian began his career. Within 2 weeks of arriving in London, his flair saw him snapped up by a top design firm.
Christian, how would you describe interior design from a British and South African perspective? Are they quite different?
Well, the thing about South Africa, and especially where I was from, is that all the projects I worked on were new build, so you had the luxury of size and space and just massive big open spaces. And obviously London, being established, being how old it is, the buildings are a little bit different and you are a little bit more restricted. And with those restrictions come amazing opportunities as well.
The home was meant to be a portfolio showpiece for property developer Gallagher London. But fashion stylist Sophie Gallagher was so impressed with the results of the renovations, she moved in herself.
Wow, so lovely to meet you.
Hi, Christian.
How are you doing? You're well.
Yeah,
Wow, what a beautiful and charming home.
Thank you very much.
Now, I believe you fell in love with the potential of what the home was going to look like before you even, I guess, bought it.
Yeah, I've been here 13 years and this existing house is 2 years old. It looked very, very, very different beforehand, but initially I think I fell in love with the space because the high ceilings and all of the light flooding in. The guy who lived here before me was an architect, so he had used it as his passion project and it was very minimal, very contemporary, which is not really my vibe. So then we decided to sort of do a big overhaul and this is how it now is.
How would you describe the style?
So it's got elements of contemporary, but I didn't want it to be too cold. So there's lots of sumptuous fabrics like the velvets. There's also quite a lot of pattern and colour, but the base is quite neutral. So it's a kind of mishmash of lots of different things, really.
Well, I think it's so charming, it's so beautiful. I can't wait to see more.
The scale of the front door is amplified in the distinctive bookshelf and upward sweep of the fireplace and stairwell.
We really wanted to try and bring in a mix of old versus new, and this being a new house, technically, we've had to really use all new finishes and new materials, so we really had to try and pretend and make do with those materials to try and get that eclectic mix. So you can sort of see that in the fireplace, you've got antique brass surround around the fireplace, and that's then contrasted with the polished plaster on the chimney breast. We've got quite dark and traditional inspired built-in joinery, and then just to add in sort of quite interesting details, we've continued the brass elements throughout. And you can see that a lot of the furniture we've done. So we have a very big mix of new pieces, but old versus new.
It's quite rare that you come to London and you find so much light in a London home. So that must have been a complete winner.
Totally, that's what it kind of had me at hello, really, this house. That's why. Originally, we think that this whole strip here was a poster printing company, and that's why they all have these big north-facing light windows. And then I believe that it was used as a sort of like artist studio in residence. You can kind of feel that character.
And we wanted to actually try and bring that through. It was an artist studio, so it needs to have that sort of feel about it.
Yeah.
And I think if we didn't keep the integrity of that, I think it would have perhaps fallen flat.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, even though Sophie does live here, you can imagine that coming through the door, an artist does live here.
The oversized globe lights bring a touch of fantasy to this combination chic and classic style kitchen.
I'm obsessed about beautiful islands, and this one is pretty unique.
We were really, really lucky to have amazing joiners on this project, and they really allowed us to push the boat out quite a bit in our design. It's a big team effort to come up with a kitchen island that is sort of one of a kind. We did amazing materials, brass and stone, and the combination of the blue paint and the antique brass is one of Sophie's favorites.
Yeah, I love the combination of the brass against the dark blue paint. So we wanted to keep it kind of chic, but still have the Turner Pocock flair as well.
Do you entertain quite a bit, Sophie?
Yes, I do. The house is always full of people coming over for dinner or glasses of wine, and I love that. So we wanted a big open kitchen that could seat lots of people. Even sometimes if I'm cooking, you can have people sitting at the bar, and then we will go down to the dinner table. And it's really nice because these glass doors, you can slide them right back, and it kind of creates one big open space in the summer when occasionally London does get a bit of sunshine. It works really well.
It's quite a contrast that you've kept this part of the house quite rustic.
So definitely, that was one of the key things we wanted to try and create throughout the house, is that balance of old versus new.
Yeah.
And really that's what we've tried to create in this kitchen and dining room. So the dining room, as you say, definitely a little bit more rustic, got that little antique flavor to it. In the kitchen, we've all new with the dark joinery and the tiles, and then together, the way of linking the spaces is bringing in things like art and textiles that sort of soften the space, and then tie in the color, just so that they do still feel like one room.
The tribal patterns really do remind me of home.
Well, I really do have Africa in my bones, so wherever possible, I do try and bring in a bit of tribal pattern or print or somewhere, just to know that I've been there.
Is it something that you love, Sophie?
Yeah, totally. When Christian forwarded me these fabrics and said, what did I think? I immediately was like, let's do it. They're great. Really, really like the stuff.
I absolutely love a clever idea, and this I'm going to do in my home. It's quite effective.
I know, such a simple idea, and a part of the sort of styling process, I probably went and bought every single antique bottle in London, and super simple, just pop in a couple of wildflowers and some plants, even dried ones, and it just really makes a cool, great big dining room table display.
Real time.
There's a continuity of finish in each room, all leading into or off the elegantly simple brass staircase. The advantage of this consistent, light, spacious theme is that it lends a feeling of volume to every room.
Oh, Sophie, I love this space. I can see why it's one of your favorites.
Thank you. Yeah, it really is so serene and so calming. We wanted for this to be a space that I can come into and immediately just like decompress after a busy day. So we went for this limed oak wood on the floor just to keep it really airy and fresh. And then the wallpaper, which I love, is fabric. It really does just soften the room. It's like being wrapped in a pillow.
Absolutely. She took the words out of my mouth, because usually wallpaper is kind of overbearing and sometimes can be a little bit too much.
Totally, and
Yeah.
we really wanted to just keep this room really calm. We also wanted to keep, even though it to be calm and lots of kind of creams and whites, we still wanted to incorporate an interesting pattern. For instance, with the headboard, I went and sourced some fabric that I love. So we wanted that to pop a bit of colour, and obviously the cushions, which are all over this house.
Wrapping the cupboards in the same linen wallpaper hides the wardrobe, allowing an uninterrupted flow.
Oh, wow. You need to come see this. This just reminds me of like French chic.
Exactly, that's so the vibe that we wanted to go for. And like a lot of us girls, I have a lot of pieces, so they're all stored in here. And also when I'm getting ready, which as you'll know is quite a thing for us girlies, it's such a nice element to be able to walk in, and it's really calm, and turn the lamp on and do your makeup and select what you're going to wear for the evening.
The barest of little picture frames continues the brass signature right through to the bathroom.
Now, oh, look at that. I love the fact that you've kept the brass in the bathroom, and then the black really is quite striking.
Yeah, we wanted to keep the continuity of the different elements flowing throughout the house. And obviously we've got the marble floor as well, which ties into the marble top on the island in the kitchen. Also, a really lovely thing about the bathroom, I think, and it was one of the big architectural elements, was this floating box, if you like, which you'll see from when you're standing in the living room.
Yeah.
Is quite a focal point, and that, when you're actually in the bathroom, is a shower.
Wow.
However, we were tasked with trying to make it not indecent because it looks straight down into the living room. So we came up with a solution, which was to sandwich kind of linen in between two panes of glass, and that way it wasn't as sort of cold as having just a plain frosted glass. It's got this kind of, like the wallpaper, it adds that warm element into it.
I love that. It's clever living, it's clever use of space, and I think it's just absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
Such canny use of space and light could only achieve so much impression of volume. By adding a basement, they literally doubled the size of the property.
Oh, wow. Look at that. It's
I
like
know.
a completely different world down here.
So really what we did is, in London, if you can't go up and you can't go out, you just go down.
Right.
So what we did, we dug a massive big basement. We've got a sitting room here, we've got a bedroom back there, and the most amazing cinema room there. And the idea was just to get as much light in as possible. So if you walked down here and you didn't even know you were going downstairs, you probably wouldn't even know you were in a basement, which is really uncommon for
That
London.
is so wild. Were there any challenges?
Well, I think one was really just about light. We're so lucky with light upstairs. We've got so much of it. It's downstairs to create that same sort of mood so you don't sort of feel like you're in two separate houses.
Yeah.
So really, the main objective was to get as much light in as possible. So we have two sort of glass screens dividing the space with the central staircase running throughout. That's streaming light from the top and then allowing light from your light well all the way into the basement. So once you get that right, then we're golden.
The second bedroom enhances the subtle pattern in the curtains with pops of orange.
I can definitely see why you enjoyed putting this room together. It really does have a country feel in a charming but yet beautiful way.
So one of the main inspirations for this house was Soho House, and even though we are in the heart of London, we are in the city, we really want to try and bring in a bit of a country, cottagey type feel. So we've got metal frame beds, we've got timber paneling on the walls. All that does is just soften the space and give it a bit of charm and character.
The interesting thing about it is that you could actually live down here and not even have to move up at all.
Got a whole, literally the whole basement is fully equipped. You can live, eat, sleep, everything down here.
The space beneath the stairs has a fascinating installation, leading into the warm, world-traveled feel of the home cinema.
What was the brief from Sophie for the space?
Well, because upstairs is quite a open plan, formal arrangement, we want to try and make this quite informal. And being in the basement, it is dark and it is what it is. So what we thought we'd do is just, we create a really moody, amazing space. We've got dark joinery, we've got timber ceilings. It all just feels soft and cozy. And we just thought this would be an amazing space to watch TV over there, kick back on the sofa, and it's a homely feel, and that's what we want to create.
Talking about kicking back, you know what, Christian? One day when I move to London, if ever I do, you're the first person I'm calling, because this is what I call a home away from home.
Be my guest.
Oh, yes.
Christian's work reflects all of his family's talents. His builder father, photographer mother, and interior designer sister. London is lucky to have him.